Guys, we have to give it up for the production teams who completely change a cartoon for an international release. That has to be a lot of work. I'm your host Joss, welcome back to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. Stick around to the end because we now dish out some bonus content for you guys. And a reminder, you can find our social media links, they are down below. We're used to seeing our favorite cartoons a certain way. But did you know that some of them have drastic changes in other countries? It's kind of weird to think that other countries would look at our cartoons and think it's weird. Like, no. Yours is weird, ours is normal. Well, let's check out some of these changes with today's list of top 10 cartoons that were changed in other countries. Beginning our list at number 10 is Inside Out. There's a few adaptations this movie had to make in order to make it more realistic for other countries. One of them is during the scene when Riley's dad starts to daydream. In the American and Canadian version of the movie, his daydream shows a clip of them watching a hockey game. Ice hockey is a very popular sport in the US and Canada. Obviously. It is often played throughout high school, college, and professionally. Not to mention, practically everyone in Canada is a die-hard hockey fan and will spend thousands of dollars on jerseys and tickets every season. However, in other countries, hockey isn't all that popular, which might be hard for a Canadian like me to believe. That's why the filmmakers decided to change the hockey game scene to a soccer game clip instead. Soccer is a more popular sport in most places around the world, so they figured it was the best and more relatable option. Which is fair, but hockey's better. At number 9 we have Monsters University. Cartoons often have written words come up in their movies, which makes it challenging for different countries to understand the word depending on what language it's in. In the US version of Monsters University, the word Scare Games was painted on the wall in the auditorium. The film was released all over the world, which means that different languages are spoken and they wouldn't know what it says. The filmmakers would have to change the writing for every language, which is a lot of work, so they decided to go with Greek. Greek symbols are very common in sororities and fraternities at most universities, so it fit the plot and would work in any country that speaks any language. It was basically the perfect solution. Good on ya. That's pretty smart. Next up at number 8 is Cars, the Pixar animation movie that won the hearts of many people when it came out back in 2006. It's known for its great animation features when creating the different car characters. It's unfortunate that Brazil had to miss out on everything that we got to see in the American version. Rather than the Cars movie, Brazil got a cartoon called The Little Cars in the Great Race. It was a mockbuster film, is what they call it, released in June 2006 to try and cash in on the popularity of Disney and Pixar's version. So this wasn't a change done by Pixar's part by any means. This is all on the Brazil animators. Everything about the plot is the same, even the four-wheeled characters, but the most noticeable difference is obviously the title, but also the overall look. The cars are styled differently and the animation as a whole is just different. I don't want to say the word cheap, but it does look a little cheap. Sliding into the number 7 spot is Brave. Cartoons that are created in different countries often have some similarities with their own cultural twist on it. In Disney's cartoon Brave, we see Merida take the lead role of being a badass skilled archer who wants to carve her own path in life. People couldn't help but fall in love with not only her personality, but her vibrant red hair. The cartoon was also done in India, and you bet your bottoms their princess had that vibrant red hair too. But in the Indian cartoon, the brave red-headed beauty isn't actually the main character at all. It highlighted a variety of characters and focused more on the hero aspect. It actually came out before Disney's version and was titled Kiara the Brave, but after the similarity of Pixar's animation, they renamed it to Super K. So did Pixar copy them? Interesting. Coming in the number 6 spot is The Jungle Book. American audiences are used to seeing the story being told by Walt Disney. We fell in love with the classic 1967 animation, and we even got blessed to see the live action remake years down the road in 2016. But only a few years after the original Disney animation came out, a Soviet adaptation came out in 1973. Their version followed closer to the novel written by Rudyard Kipling. The Russians released 5 short films in a series at first, but then they combined it into a 96-minute feature called Adventures of Mowgli. You can see the characters are the same, just with different looks and clearly a different style in animation. The Soviet version is known to have a darker theme than our Disney version, but both of them were extremely popular during the time and have high ratings on the world's top lists. Fun fact though, because I don't think the majority of you will go and watch it, Mowgli grows up in the Soviet version, and he's kinda hot. Halfway through at number 5 is Kung Fu Panda. In 2008, we fell in love with DreamWorks' story of the lazy and clumsy panda named Po. He's lazy and clumsy until he becomes a kung fu legend, that is. The animation was a complete success, which is why it's no surprise that a similar cartoon was put out in Brazil. Once again, people call it a mockbuster film since it mocks the DreamWorks version just with some minor changes. In 2008, the Brazilian version of the film came out titled The Little Panda Fighter. In their story, the panda is named Pancada and he works at a boxing club, but he has dreams of becoming a dancer. Different plot details, but similar messages and characters. Both pandas have to learn new skills and the animations are presented in the same way. In spot number 4 is Adventure Time. It's an American animated series that is wildly popular on the Cartoon Network. If you haven't seen it, it follows the story of a 12-year-old boy named Finn who battles evil in the land of Ooh and is assisted along the way by his dog Jake. The cartoon came out in 2010 and went on for 10 successful seasons, which is why it's no surprise that the cartoon was changed into something else in China. In 2015, a Chinese animated web series came out called The Legend of Lucky Pie, and people were calling it a rip-off version of Adventure Time. The plot of their version is about an anthropomorphic owl that looks like a human going on an adventure with his pony. There are many similarities and appearances between the two cartoons, but some people still praise the Chinese version. Chris Person, producer of Kotaku, called it pretty damn cool and pretty solid. But then, when he was asked to compare it to Adventure Time, he said it was a bit rough. In the number 3 spot is Ratatouille. The Disney Pixar animation was a huge success when it came out back in 2007. It was filled with a ton of French culture as it follows a man named Remy who moves to Paris to chase his dream of becoming a chef. And of course we meet the adorable rat, Ratatouille. The same cartoon came out in Brazil the same year, just with a different title, Ratatouille. It followed a similar plotline but focused more on the rat. In their version, a culinary rat invades different restaurants to find ingredients that he needs for his dishes. Sounds pretty funny, to be honest. The two animations don't really compare when you look at their appearance. I mean, Ratatouille's almost lifelike, and Ratatouille looks like it's made out of Play-Doh. No offense. Taking over the number 2 spot is Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo is an insanely popular American animated franchise combining books, television series, and movies. Writers Joe Ruby and Ken Spears created the original series called Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? For Hanna-Barbera Productions back in 1969. There's not much else to say other than that it is legendary. It was changed in Australia though and was turned into a 30-minute Saturday morning series called Goober and the Ghost Chasers. It was produced by the same production company and follows a group of teenagers with their dog Goober who attempts to solve mysteries. So the same thing as Scooby-Doo, but the character appearances are much different. Honestly, not too sure what's going on with the Australian Scooby-Doo. He kinda looks like a hipster. In our number 1 spot is Pokemon, because how could it not be? Another huge franchise that ranges from video games, books, television series, and movies. The animated TV series first came out in April 1997. We quickly fell in love with Ash and his gang, as well as the cool Pokemons, which ended up in our Pokemon card collection. Don't even pretend. I definitely had one. You may not know this, but there is a Brazilian version of the popular cartoon, and it has many similarities to the original, but also a few differences. It has a different title and is called Dogmans. And the main character Ash is called Alex, and his good old friend Pikachu is called Green Dog. Of course, the animation itself appears to be different, but you can tell it was just adapted for its own country's release. Alright, that is our list for today. Click that thumbs up button if you enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments what you think of all these changes. In the meantime, let's check out some comments from some of my other videos. Travis Kurtz says, that scene does not get any easier. Chances are she had no idea what movie they were even showing. False. Chances are I actually picked the video myself because these videos are all scripted by us, the hosts. Good try though. Marissa Bones says, Exorcism Emily Rose freaked me out as a kid. Yeah, I saw it in theater with a group of friends when I was in grade 7 and I cried. Like I actually cried. Physical tears. Bonnie Baldridge says, so glad to see the more close-up approach. Do you mean the camera? Because I prefer the not so close-up approach. Jake Smith says, Jocelyn, you are way more attractive than flippin' Mandy Moore, no question. Hands down 100%. Jake, you know the way to my heart, man, but I don't like liars. Well, I'm getting out of here, you guys. I have nothing left. That's it. Subscribe if you haven't already and hit the notification bell to never miss another video. I'm your host, Joss. I will see you next time. Hair everywhere. Why? Like, do you see this? Bring a lint roller everywhere I go. It doesn't do anything. Get a dog, they said. Halfway through at number 5 is Kung Fu Panda. You know, is this long? Well, make yourself useful here. I'm kidding. Oh! Say yes. But is it like ooh or ooh? Like I could say this so many different ways. Ooh, ooh, ooh.